Boom goes the dynamite. Presents Alex Rings, Mariana Beltran, Grand EJ, the Three Musketeers.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Alfred Nobel created a large array of conflict, whether it be through dynamite, the world wars, or the nuclear bomb. However, he had also caused a large deal of nobility under his name. Swedish chemist, engineer, and industrialist who invented dynamite and other more powerful explosives and who also founded the Nobel Prizes. Alfred and his parents came back to Sweden, while his siblings Robert and Ludwig remained behind in Russia to rescue what was left of the privately owned company. Alfred before long started testing with explosives in a little research facility on his father's estate. At the time, the only reliable explosive for use in mines changed into black powder, a form of gunpowder, a currently determined liquid compound. Nitroglycerin turned into a miles extra powerful explosive. However, it became so unstable that it couldn't be handled with any degree of protection. Nevertheless, Nobel in 1862 built a small factory to manufacture nitroglycerin, and at the same time he undertook research within the hope of finding a safe manner to govern the explosive's detonation. In 1863, he invented a sensible detonator consisting of a wooden plug inserted into a larger rate of nitroglycerin held in a metal container. The explosion of the plug's small charge of black powder serves to detonate the greater rate of liquid nitroglycerin. This detonator marked the beginning of Nobel's popularity as an inventor. In addition to the fortune he was to accumulate as a maker of explosives. The invention of the blasting cap gave the modern world a new taste of medicine. Nitroglycerin itself, however, remained difficult to move and extremely dangerous to address. So risky, in fact, that Nobel's nitroglycerin manufacturing unit blew up in 1864, killing his younger brother Emil and numerous other people. Undaunted by the way of this tragic twist of fate, Nobel built numerous factories to manufacture nitroglycerin to be used in concert with his blasting caps. These factories were as secure because the information of the time allowed. However, accidental explosions still on occasion passed off. Nobel's second important invention was the creation of dynamite in 1867. Dynamite established Nobel's fame worldwide and was soon put into use. In the 1870s and 80s, Nobel built a chain of factories throughout Europe to manufacture dynamite, and he formed a web of corporations to produce and market his explosives. He had usually been beneficent and humanitarian, and he left the majority of his fortune to establish what came to be the maximum, rather seemed, of worldwide awards, the Nobel Prizes. Dynamite was a way to dig mines deeper and quicker, and uneconomical deposits thus became profitable. Dynamite was used to blow down cement walls and concrete. It helped with the exploration of oil, gas, power, mineral mining, and pipeline. Dynamite played a role in the Haymarket Affair that occurred in Chicago. The Haymarket Affair, also known as the Haymarket Massacre or Riot, was the aftermath of a bombing that happened at a labor demonstration on Tuesday, May 4th of 1886, at Haymarket Square in Chicago. This riot was organized by labor radicals fighting for 8-hour workdays and working conditions. On May 3rd, 1886, several workers were killed by police at the McCormick Place in Chicago. Workers organized a rally at Haymarket, Randolph Street, Des Plaines, and Halsted. A speaker named Samuel Falden made a statement that upset policemen, who then moved in to shut the rally down. An unknown person then threw dynamite into the enraged police. 7 policemen were killed and 5 civilians were wounded. Without any evidence, 8 men were arrested and put on trial and convicted. Out of 8 men, 4 were executed of November 11, 1887. Between 1908 and 1911, in the city of Chicago, there were between 87 to 150 bombings that took place at various work sites. As the nationwide strike broke out, the iron workers watched helplessly as weaker unions of carpenters, bricklayers, and masons were being brought from down under by the NEA and the government. BSIW partners buzzed for action. Others took the view that the BSIW changed its assembly fire with fire with a country's extensive campaign of sabotage against the NEA. Property damage to NEA contractors averaged approximately $1,000. Systems erected through non-union exertions, pent life and equipment of non-union contractors, and building material destined for non-union projects had been the primary objectives. The dynamite became directed at belongings, not people. Dynamite, be it through how Alfred Nobel created it or in other forms that countries had used it for, was both used in World War I and World War II. A good example of this is the offensives of the First World War and the Battle of Mons, where British and French engineers worked tirelessly to eradicate bridges with dynamite and slow the German advance so the Allies, United States, Austria, Italy, Russia, France, and the United Kingdom had time to regroup. During World War I, dynamite also found a use in counter-mining, where a separate team would dig underneath a suspected enemy tunneling operation in no man's land and use dynamite to collapse both tunnels. It could also be used as a makeshift landmine. Atomic bombs were only used twice during wars. In those two times, they were operated by the United States against Japan at the end of World War II. The University of Chicago has already begun their first experiment which did not involve metallurgy. However, they used it as a screen name to disguise a key part in America's effort to beat Germany in a race to build an atomic bomb. They had to prove that a nuclear reaction could be turned on and off, which has never been done before. The Manhattan Project became the code name for an American-led attempt to broaden a purposeful atomic bomb in the course of World War II. The Manhattan Project started out in the fears that German scientists were operating on a weapon usage of nuclear technology since the 1930s. A discovery with the aid of nuclear physicists in a laboratory in Berlin, Germany, in 1938 made the primary atomic bomb viable, after Otto Hahn, Lise Meitner, and Fritz Strassmann found nuclear fission. The majority of the work was completed in New Mexico on July 16, 1945. The first atomic bomb was successfully detonated. It created a huge mushroom cloud 40,000 feet high and ushered within the atomic age. By 1945, two different types of bombs were constructed, a uranium-based bomb called the Little Boy and a plutonium-based weapon called the Fat Man. President Harry Truman ordered for Japan to surrender using the Potsdam Declaration. It promised prompt and utter destruction if they did not agree and surrender. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. dropped the first atomic bomb, the Little Boy, on Japanese city of Hiroshima using a B-29 bomber plane called Enola Gay. It exploded with about 13 kilotons of force, leveling 5 square miles of the town and killing 80,000 people right away. Thousands more would die afterwards due to the cause from the exposure of radiation. Soon after, Japan still denied to surrender, which then led to the U.S. dropping the second atomic bomb, the Fat Man. 3 days later, on the city of Nagasaki, an estimated 40,000 people caused an impact. However, Nagasaki wasn't the first target for the second bomb. They initially targeted the city of Kakura, which held the largest munition plants. Smoke from firebombing raids concealed the sky, which enabled the pilots to be able to see and turn back around to their secondary targets. The Japanese Emperor Hirohito declared his country's surrender after witnessing the devastating power of the new and most cruel bomb on August 15, which ended World War II. Harold Pigneri, Ernest Orlando Lawrence, and Enrico Fermi were 3 within the University of Chicago out of the 90 scholars that got awarded for the development of the first atomic bomb. The Nobel Peace Prize was a resolution to Alfred Nobel's dynamite because the dynamite was destructive, and the Nobel Prizes are congratulatory.
I'm so awesome, out here like a possum. I'm so awesome, I'm so fucking awesome. I'm so awesome, I'm so fucking awesome. I'm so awesome, I'm so fucking awesome.